Hello, this is Yogeshwar again, and I'm back with another very interesting topic. Very important and very interesting topic today. And this topic is about past life. First of all, do we believe in a past life? Do we believe that we've lived before we were born in another yoni or another body? So, first of all, we have to understand and believe in the theory that yes, there is a past life and there is a future life as well, because as per Hinduism, a soul is something which is immortal. A soul never dies. And therefore, based on this theory and also based on the various scriptures as described by the Bhrigu Sutras, as described by the Brihat Parashar Hora Shastra, as described by the next generation Jaimini Sutras, the great saints who were actually given the knowledge by Lord Brahma directly to sage Bhrigu especially, they've all talked about lives, previous lives, past lives. And so, beginning of this video, I'm going to assume that we do believe in a past life. And why we believe in a past life, as I just explained to you, it's mentioned in the scriptures. The basis of Vedic astrology is the theory of karma and past life. What we get in this life is actually a representation of our karma, which we have accumulated in our past lives. And as we know that there are three kinds of karma. One is the sanchita karma, which is the accumulated karma, as you can relate it to a bank balance. And the prarabdha is what we'll get in this lifetime out of the sanchita karma, which is how much we withdraw from a bank is the prarabdha. And just to give you an analogy, how much we have as a bank balance is the sanchita. And how much we earn in this life is the third kind of karma, which continues as we go along our lives in this lifetime. So this is the basis of what the scriptures say. This is the basis of what the Vedic astrology principles are based on. And today we are going to discuss, is there a way, assuming of course that we believe that there is a past life. So we're going to discuss today, is there a way to find out about our past lives? Is there a way to find out what kind of karma we had in our past lives? Was it good karma, bad karma? What is the sanchita? Is there a way to find out how that karma is going to be affecting us in this lifetime? Through prarabdha, of course. And yes, the great sage Parashara, Maharishi Parashara, has mentioned and explained us through Vedic astrology that yes, there is a way where you can kind of figure out and find out about your past life and your past life karma. And how does he explain it? He explains it through the very important Varga chart or divisional chart. We have discussed in our previous video about divisional chart, but today we are going to be discussing a very, very important divisional chart or a Varga chart, which has been described by the sage Parasha, and that is called the D60, which is also called Shashtiyamsha in Sanskrit. Shashti means 60, Amsha means division. So it is called the Shashti Amsha chart, or very commonly referred these days as a D60 chart. And what D60 is, just like if you've seen my video on the D9 chart or the Navansha chart, it is actually a division of a Rashi or a zodiac sign into 9 parts. And similarly, the D60 or The Shashtiamsha chart is actually a division of a Rashi or a zodiac sign into 60 parts. Isn't it amazing? 5,000 years ago, without calculators, computers, the great sages, through their divine vision, could actually see your lagna based on the eastern horizon. They could figure out what your Vedic birth chart looks like, and they could even go to the extent of breaking a Rashi or a zodiac sign into 60 parts. I mean, it amazes me. Now, as we all know that there are 12 Rashis or 12 zodiac signs, we know that each Rashi or zodiac sign represents 30 degrees. The sum total of 12 Rashis and zodiac sign represents 360 degrees. And the Shashtiamsha or the D60, which we are going to discuss today, is actually a division of 30 degrees by 6 into 60 parts. And when it is broken down into 60 parts, those 60 parts are half a degree each. So that's how complicated D60 chart is, and that's what the power, the divine power of the great sages was thousands of years ago, that they could very accurately create or draw that Varga chart. Now, D60 chart, as explained by the sage Parashara, the great sage Parashara, is considered to be given extreme importance as far as reading a birth chart is concerned. He has given importance, of course, to the basic chart, which is the Rashi chart, which is the D1 chart, the Navansha chart, and various other charts. You know, there are D3, D5, D12, so on and so forth, D30. And D60 has been given extreme importance. Why? Because the basis of Vedic astrology itself is the theory of karma and the past life debts and past life good deeds which we have accumulated and which we are going to experience in this life. So he says, once you do, the great sage Parashara says, once you do a chart reading, look at the basic chart, but do not forget the D60 chart, which will tell you about that person's past life. Because based on the past life is what you will be getting or experiencing in this life. So astrologers have to be extremely careful. Do not ignore this very important Varga chart, D60. Now, the million-dollar question here is, how do we read the D60 chart? That is the million-dollar question. Why is it a million-dollar question? Is because, as we know, that we determine the lagna based on what zodiac sign is there on the eastern horizon at the time of birth. And the zodiac sign changes every 2 hours. So in 24 hours, you will experience a different lagna or zodiac sign as rising from the eastern horizon. So 2 hours times 12 is 24 hours. That's how every 2 hours the lagna changes, or the zodiac sign rising from the eastern horizon changes, because of the way the Srishti has been created. And so once we are discussing the D60 chart, which is further broken down into 60 parts, so you break down that 2 hours into 60 parts, and 2 hours is 120 minutes. You break it down into 60 parts. So the D60 lagna or the Shashtiamsha lagna is going to change every 2 minutes. That's how complicated it is. So first of all, that is extremely difficult because there are different ways of calculating the birth of a child. Some astrologers give importance to when the child is cut from the umbilical cord. Some astrologers say no, when the child breathes first, that's considered to be the right time of birth. Some say, oh no, the baby's first cry is when the real accurate time of birth is. So there are different opinions on that. I'm not going to get into that. So what I'm trying to say is that it is very, very difficult to find out the correct lagna of the D60 chart because it changes every 2 minutes. So that of course is a big challenge. And one of the things which we can differentiate between the destinies of twins born, because twins are born between a few minutes apart. So the D60 or the Shashtiyamsha chart gives an explanation of why the destinies of twins could be different, because they may be born within a difference of 2 minutes between each other's birth times. So of course we're not getting into that. I just wanted to explain you this briefly, but the point here is that it's very difficult to determine the exact D60 chart. So how do we read it? So one of the things is that, yes, you have to do a lot of permutation combinations and go backwards, see how it fits into our present day lives, and try to determine that, yes, this is the D60 chart. And there are people who have done that, and how they have done that. One of the astrologers has mentioned, one of the renowned astrologers has mentioned, I was listening to him, that he says that D60 chart, as we all know, is about past life. So it is about impressions. It's about samskaras, which are impressions which we bring from our past lives into this life. So based on the D60 chart, you can figure out, based on the present chart, you can figure out the D60 chart's placement or the right lagna. By giving an example, he was trying to explain that, say for example, if a person is afraid of fire, then based on Gemini principles, there is a way to figure out how a death must have occurred in the past life. So go to the D60 chart. I mean, what the astrologer was saying was that he went into the D60 chart of that person, and he could figure out how that person died, and he could figure out that this person died of fire burns. And that's the reason why his samskara, or his impression from his past life, carried over to this life. And he's extremely, extremely scared of fire. That astrologer gives another example of a person who was scared of water, drowning in water. And then that astrologer went back and studied his D60 chart, and based on the Gemini principles, he could figure out that, yes, this person may have or must have drowned to death in his past life, and that is why his impression or samskara carried over to this life, and that's why this person is extremely, extremely scared of water. So that's how that astrologer was trying to explain that he could figure out the exact lagna of the D60 chart by going and kind of connecting it to what impressions that person has carried from his past life into this life. But once again, I would still say that it's extremely, extremely difficult to figure out the exact lagna of the D60 chart. So how do we do it? Well, you have to go and study the D60 chart, and one of the things which I would recommend is see what zodiac signs are the planets placed. That'll give a good understanding. What aspects is that planet having? What conjunctions is that planet having? How is a planet placed? Is it in exaltation? Is it in its debilitation? And then you can figure out as to what effects that planet is going to give in our present lives going into the D1 or the zodiac or the Rashi chart is concerned. So once again, go back into the D60, see what the placement of the planets are in the zodiac signs, and see how they are placed. Are two malefics together, or is one benefic being extremely afflicted by a malefic, or if a planet is in exaltation or debilitation? I mean, these are going to give you an idea from the D60 chart as to how the planets will be behaving in this birth in your Rashi or your D1 chart. So that's one way of looking at it. And of course, like I said, it's a very complicated topic. So what I'll recommend to you is do some exercise. Look into your own birth charts. Look into other people's birth charts. You are trying to read and connect the D60 chart, which talks about past life as per the great Maharishi Parashar. There's no doubt about that. Yes, there is a past life if you believe in him. And yes, the D60 chart is the chart which will talk to you about the past life, and those planets are going to give you an indication as to how they behaved in your past life and what kind of impressions or samskaras have you carried through those planets into this life, which will be reflected in your Rashi chart or your D1 chart. So do some exercise and then come to a conclusion yourself. The more charts you read, the more understanding you'll have. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. And what I'll recommend is subscribe to my channel. Check out my website below. There is a link below. And I'll see you soon with another interesting topic. Thank you.